With us in studio, we have Tanika Ngrenia, who is an economist at the Old Mutual Investment Group. Welcome, Tanika.
Hi, Mushfika.
Tanika, I'm very, very keen to hear what your takeouts were of Budget 2018. What was done, what could have been done, what options did the Minister have?
It's funny because I was thinking about the last time when we were together, post the October midterm budget, and I had no other words for the word bad. I couldn't find synonyms, and now it just seems like that's changed. The mood's changed a lot because we were quite surprised by the fact that they brought VAT to the table for the first time since 1993. So that was quite impressive, and it made for a good budget for the fact that they'd have the political willingness to do this pre an election year next year. So it does show that they're trying to do what they can to get back on track in terms of plugging that fiscal deficit.
Absolutely, and we're getting consumers who are up in arms and very upset about the fact that the VAT has been raised by 1%. But Minister Malusi Gigaba and Treasury really didn't have much of a choice. There were not very many options in terms of plugging that deficit.
It's true. They would have had to scramble around, finding some ways to cut more expenditure, finding maybe sugar taxes, you know, these small things. So this was one way where they could be, they could find the sufficient amount to plug that deficit. So it was helpful. It's not as regressive as most people would expect compared to personal income tax. I mean, raising that would have been more regressive than VAT. And VAT, actually, if you think about it, 85% of that revenue is only from 30% of the wealthy. So already it feels like a VAT or a tax on luxury goods for the rich. So the lower income groups still protected with the fiscal drag relief that was given, more than last year, in fact. So that's helpful across the board. Another thing is that when you have tight fiscal policy, what it does is it eases monetary policy. So we can start seeing rate cuts coming back on the table as soon as March, mainly because now that ratings agency, that uncertainty is now removed, now that we've had this good budget, we've had that political change, and things look like they're moving in the right direction.
It is a change from October with the midterm budget policy statement.
Completely, it is.
And also something that stood out for me yesterday was the entire tone. The entire tone of the budget. It was speaking to the people. That social contract between government and society seems to have strengthened.
That's right. I don't know who the speechwriter is for the presidency right now and National Treasury, but he's doing a brilliant job at just inspiring hope in South Africans and speaking for the people. So it's something you can see. They keep reiterating the NDP, something that we needed reassurance of, that we're getting back to this plan that was on the table quite a while ago. So it's about policy implementation now. We've been hearing the right words. We've been hearing that from SONA. Conferences, summits happening, more engagements with businesses, which is great. So now it's time to start seeing that policy implementation to get us back onto this growth trajectory.
We have very many people very impressed with Budget 2018, but those remarks and opinions are coming very much out of South Africa. What do you think the international world is feeling about Budget 2018? How are investors feeling about Budget 2018, and even the ratings agencies?
Look, even before the budget, we had a lot of foreign investors starting to ask us what we think about the macroeconomic outlook, because they're interested. If you think about emerging markets, they usually do well after political regime change. It happened in Brazil, it happened in South Korea. Now we've had this market-friendly reform, so South Africa seems to be that next emerging market trade of the year. So before that, they were already asking the right questions about investing in South Africa. Post the budget, I think the best way to see reaction is the rand and bond yields. CDS spreads, which is one indicator of risk, you know, in terms of sovereign risk in South Africa. So you would take out insurance if you think South Africa is defaulting through the CDS spreads, right? And the higher it is, the more risky a country is. Now that's come down to 2012 levels.
Yes, it has come down.
So we've been seen as a less risky country than Mexico even. So it just shows you that foreign investors are starting to see this change in a positive light. Bond yields are now below 8%, so things are looking bright for South Africa this year.
And to wrap up, do you think Moody's will downgrade?
I would find it very difficult for them to find a reason to downgrade us now. If you just think about the mood change of where they were in October versus now, we have a new Eskom board, We have a new president. There's a lot.
Changes that they were looking for
Yes.
have come about.
They have. We have VAT, something that everyone said, no, it was politically unpalatable. There's no way they would do it. It's happened.
It's happened.
Exactly. So the debt trajectory that we were all worried about, it extending to 63%, now that's come down to a more sustainable level at around 53%. Not amazing, but I mean, it's come down. It's not as scary as everyone had expected. So it's going to be very difficult for Moody's to find a reason to downgrade us. And once we have that rating reprieve, then it leaves the Reserve Bank with space to cut interest rates as early as March.
Let's hope we carry on this great trajectory.
We need to keep the momentum going, that's right.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, Nico.
You're welcome.